doing?
Doing great. So thank you so much for joining us. We'll just hop right in. For everyone, we are Van Leeuwen's Ice Cream. I mean, how exciting we are to have you here. I just introduced myself first, and then Jordan, and then you get the spotlight. So my name's Shari Leidick. I've been in the industry for over 20 years. I was diagnosed with MS in 2004, started a raw foods company, Two Moms in the Raw. I know cashew ice cream really well. Ran that for about 12 years with my husband. We exited in 2016 and pivoted to No Brainer Foods, where we made keto creamers and instants. And we have evolved into Mac Sweets. We still make the keto instants and cream, and we make functional sweets without any sugar. A great addition to an ice cream. You know, we could talk about that another time. But I'm very, very excited what you do because I just, as a person who's also, I'm still a raw foodist, 90% of my diet, I'm always looking for those options, and I usually make it myself. So, Jordan, why don't you introduce yourself?
Ben, it's nice to meet you. I saw your, I worked at a firm this summer that had invested in Three Wishes. So I saw your interview with Ian Wishengrad. Thought it was awesome. But yeah, so I'm Jordan. I just graduated from Yale, and I was diagnosed with celiac disease when I was a freshman in college. And through that process of just trying to learn like what I could truly just eat, I tracked down Sherry after I became infatuated with this category of better for you CPG. And ever since, we've kind of been running, like trying to figure out how to do this right now with her new brand, Mac Sweets. So excited to have you online here and to kind of hear a little bit more about your story.
Really excited. And when I'm just amazed, you know, frozen's not easy for people. So when it's like 1 out of 5 brands succeed just in the CPG category, when you're frozen, that percentage, you know, it's even less so. So congratulations. I see you at Sprouts. I see you at Natural Grocers, and a very strong online presence. I know you're going to be branching out nationally, but right now you're more local, right, for the online channel?
For the what do you mean online channel?
Well, I saw on your website you have options for online purchasing.
Right now, you can order online from our stores, which are in New York and LA. But
New York and LA.
We're about to relaunch our direct-to-consumer channel, which will be available nationally.
Oh, that's amazing. Okay, so please introduce yourself and please talk about that because I would love to learn a lot about that online approach.
So I'm Ben Van Leeuwen, founder and CEO, co-founder and CEO of Van Leeuwen Ice Cream. We're based in Brooklyn, New York, and we started the company 13 years ago off of a beat up old 1988 Chevy truck selling ice cream on the streets of Soho in Williamsburg, Brooklyn. And now we have 25 stores on the East and West Coast and sell in 3,000 grocery store doors. And we make vegan and dairy ice cream.
And so when you're looking at the store distribution, which is it mostly the regular ice cream or more vegan, or how does it split?
It is about 50-50.
Oh, amazing. That means that you make a phenomenally high quality product. So congratulations to you on that distribution.
With that said, the dairy category is 30 times the size of the non-dairy category. The non-dairy category is growing, but I mean, even at 50% year per growth, it'll take a long time to catch up to the dairy.
It's interesting with that vegan. I mean, vegan is huge, right? And then, but still, people want their dairy ice cream at the end of the day, right?
That is really interesting to kind of like think about that, because I feel like if you live in New York, I'm usually in New York, or if you think of someone that lives in LA, it kind of just makes more sense why you would think plant-based or vegan would be more popular. But you kind of always have to take a step back and think about like the middle of the country effectively. And like, I'm curious kind of how you've thought about that. Obviously, you guys have introduced a lot of vegan lines, but do you, like, going forward, I guess, do you plan on emphasizing the like, is Van Leeuwen's going to be a dairy based brand, or how are you thinking about that?
So part of our mission is making good ice cream for everybody, which means good ice cream, whether you're a vegan, whether you're a omnivore. So we're going to stick to making really good products for as many people as we can. And I mean, when we say everybody, we do not do low sugar ice cream, because for us, we haven't figured out how to make what we consider to be good ice cream without sugar. Like it's an integral part, not only of the taste portion of the ice cream, but of the texture and way it works in production.
I mean, it'll be a lot easier for us to make Max Mallow marshmallows with sugar. And now that we've just launched this morning a vegan mini mallow, and it's a struggle without the sugar. I mean, there's no doubt about it. But I love your answer, because we have a collagen marshmallow right now, and so we just came out with a vegan. And the point is, we're making Max sweets, and one happens to be with collagen, another happens to be with pea protein. So very, very interesting. Go ahead.
Just one more on that. Part of it too is, I mean, folks who can't eat sugar for health reasons, I'm all for that. But part of our mission is making really good ice cream, and it's sort of along the lines, if you're going to do something, do it right. And again, this is, it sounds like your products are for folks who can't have sugar or really need to avoid it.
Like somebody like me, I can't have the sugar. But no, but you are right. The first thing that's really important for a CPG, it has to taste delicious.
Well, that's the thing. It's like in this category of like better for you CPG, I feel like a lot of brands are like having to make this trade-off between like taste and macronutrients. And it sounds like, Ben, I mean, you guys are taking, we're going to make the taste as good as we can possibly do it. And like, sure, if we can make it a little bit better, because we'll sub plant-based milk for normal milk. But at the end of the day, like you're trying to be would you say that you're trying to be the next Ben and Jerry's, but like a little bit healthier, cleaner ingredients?
The next Haagen-Dazs, the next Ben and Jerry's. So taking the base formulas, using more fat, a little less sugar, and then finding the best chocolates, the best pistachio nuts, the best strawberries. So yeah, taking that, I was about to say taking that up a notch. I think that works.
Got it.
But in what we always think about, my problem again isn't with low sugar, but a lot of the better for you ice creams are designed so people can have a pint of them every day. And that's something that personally I just don't understand, and that I could never get behind, because I would rather have like, I mean, I have one of our empty pints right here, but like a scoop of our Piedmont hazelnut fudge cookie, I mean, no offense to Halo Top, but then 7 pints of Halo Top a week, which would actually end up having more calories. But that's I don't know if it's uniquely American, but it's something I often think about. My girlfriend is half Japanese, and they wouldn't understand low calorie ice cream, because they make food with the objective of making really delicious food. And it's just a concept that like, they'd be like, wait, why would you make something less tasty? What's the point?
Yeah.
And the Americans would be like, well, it's less tasty, but you can eat 10 times as much of it. And they'd be like, why don't you just eat less of the really good stuff?
Yeah, Americans don't get that. We have gluttons. We like more. We like bigger. We like better. We like more. But I think,
and we're really sort of doubling down on that, just with the.
for you, well, it's working. I mean, it is working, and it's showing in your success. But I also think your branding is amazing. So not only do you have to have the best taste in a CPG, you have this iconic looking brand. And that's a big deal. I mean, it's funny, you're a young guy. I mean, I don't know your teammates. I apologize for that. And so I just think you nailed it. You just, when everything just all happens at once for a brand, I think that's what's happening with your ice cream, for sure.
Yeah. And Ben, I just had a question, since I know, I mean, you guys are a little bit more untraditional. I mean, you started, I mean, I'd love to kind of hear a little bit more about like the truck and you selling ice cream before kind of going into pints, and how, I guess, at a higher level, you think about that as like how has that helped you when moving into the CPG category and entering pints into stores while like owning your own retail channel effectively?
So having the brick and mortar helps build brand awareness,
Oh, yeah.
which in turn drives velocities in the markets where you have brick and mortar or ice cream trucks. So when we launched Van Leeuwen out of a truck 13 years ago, we actually went into the pint cups like 6 months after we started the trucks. We weren't trying, but someone from Whole Foods saw the truck and they said, can we sell these products in our store? And we explored and went for almost any opportunity that was presented to us. So we said yes and started selling in the New York market. And we're 13 years in. For the first really 12 years until about a year ago, we didn't do any marketing, or we didn't do marketing other than operating brick and mortar shops and trucks in New York City. And our velocities in New York, in the tri-state area over the last 13 years have gone like this, and now they're, the highest in the, some of the highest in the region of any frozen dessert, which is awesome. And having brick and mortar allows you to do that. But we, even if we wanted to, we couldn't open brick and mortar in enough regions and areas to support the CPG distribution, because that can scale much more quickly. So the retail really helps that. But it was both good and bad. It allowed us to not have to spend on marketing for the first 12 years, but it also meant that we didn't really dip our foot into what marketing a CPG brand takes until like a year and a half ago, when we built an awesome marketing team. So as we're expanding nationally now and we're in 3,000 doors, we are building marketing strategies to support that. And the goal is just brand awareness. I mean, that's everything. You get
That's
someone
smart. Grassroots. That's what we did with Two Moms. It's farmers market. So same kind of thing. And the grassroots is really, really important. It's very different this day and age when you do grassroots, because a retailer like Whole Foods, it's, that's what happened to us. It's not like the buyer comes by and say, hey, we'd like you in our store. It's a very different animal. So you're really lucky that you kind of got in there when you did.
We found the most challenging is going into the conventional part of the market with no brand awareness, because first off, the price is relatively higher there compared
But which convention? Can you just give us a
Safeway is one. Safeway in Northern California, which is about 400 stores, is one. And so the brand awareness, a lack of brand awareness is going to hurt you even more in conventional as a higher price product than it will in a Sprouts or a Whole Foods, where the customer is maybe a little more adventurous, but probably has a little more money to spend to try something that's $1 or two more than the super premiums they're used to, which are Haagen-Dazs and Ben and Jerry's.
That's true, but you also would find that ice cream on the shelf. You're competing with that ice cream in the convention, but once they taste yours, they'll never go back. So
that's the hope.
Yeah, well, I'm sure doing things like this makes it happen. And marketing does, we haven't spent any dollars on marketing at all for No Brainer or Max Sweet. So we're in your early stages, but we also haven't done that grassroots. We're not at a farmer's market. Look at COVID. It's very hard to meet your consumer that way. And it's funny, Jordan was saying, you were answering all your customer service questions. I'm like, yeah, to me, I'm at a demo table right now. I want to know the feedback firsthand as the founder of this company, and then I want to pivot from there. So that's something to think about, actually, who's ever listening. Really important to hear your consumer, and nobody hears a consumer like a founder. Yeah. I don't care if they have the best interest at heart.
We actually flagged about a month ago that we weren't getting enough complaints and negative feedback from customers. And my reaction to that wasn't, we're amazing. It was, we need to make it easier for customers to complain and give us feedback. So right now we're working on that, because that is, I mean, a customer complaining is one of like the greatest opportunities for any customer
growth. Absolutely. And I love when you just said that, Jordan. That's like what Mike Shaw was saying. You're bringing a little bit of humility and gratitude to the table when you say something like that, because it's really important to be honest about everything and want your customers to be honest.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
yeah.
Well,
So
when it's also because I think, I don't have data on this, but I mean, you sometimes hear that 9 out of 10 bad experiences aren't even reported. And as a consumer of other products, I've had experiences where I have a negative experience and I try to complain or give feedback, but you have to fill in 10 boxes on a web page and your name and email. And we want to figure out a way to take, which isn't that difficult or groundbreaking, but just to take all of the friction out of that. So if you have a bad experience, you can just click here and complain. Or,
yeah, I have an idea. Amazon.
yeah,
If you want like a gazillion bad experiences and like 10
right.
of them are not even true, try Amazon. Yeah.
That's
So,
interesting. Ben, I'm curious. So you said you've recently or more recently have kind of built out and fleshed out your marketing strategy just a little bit, putting real dollars behind it. I'm curious, like what have you found to be the most successful things in the past couple months that you would kind of recommend for a new brand that would be deciding to put real money behind marketing spend?
Sure. I mean, on that one, I can't give a good answer there because 2020 will be the first year where we have a substantial marketing spend. So there's lots of things about, that we with our marketing team accomplish that I like and that feel good, but data wise, in terms of how marketing supports CPG, we don't yet have data. What our plan will include, though, is a lot of targeted social media, a lot of influencer marketing, just really anything that will. I mean, the question or the objective of marketing is to build brand awareness in the most efficient way possible, right? And we, as I mentioned, we are new to spending money on marketing and advertising, so we don't have the data yet to say, okay, this works, this doesn't work, but what we will do as part of our marketing plan is do some A/B testing where we run a marketing strategy in one market, don't run it in a market next to that market, and look at what happens to velocities.
so
But
how are you experiencing COVID with your brick and mortar shops? Just wondering how it's
I
been
mean,
going.
COVID has seriously impacted our sales in store.
Yeah.
Not as much in Los Angeles as in New York, but a lot of people left Manhattan, so our Manhattan stores were hit pretty hard. With that said, we never closed.
Oh,
We
okay.
stayed open the whole time. We were closed for walk-in guests for about 2 months, half of about mid-March to mid-May, and then we started reopening everything. But we continued to do deliveries
So
during
great.
that time, and that was so important. A lot of businesses or many businesses closed down in New York and just didn't reopen. And our COO Corey said to us when we were sort of considering closing, she was like, "Once you close, it's going to be really hard to reopen."
Yeah, it's so hard. Now, do you take advantage of like the Grubhubs or the DoorDashes, or do you use your own delivery?
Um, no, we use the third party, so
It's so smart because they are doing such a good job making a consumer like me, right? Who I live in a real rural farmy area. And before COVID, I couldn't order. And I'm from New York City. I grew up in New York City, by the way. So I'm used to like picking up the phone and So living here, nobody would deliver to us. I mean, we're not even that many miles away from things. But since COVID hit, Grubhub is free for you can get it free for a month. So I'm your consumer that all of a sudden I'm taking advantage of all these third party delivery services and
doing that in house would be possible. But I mean, I would just see almost, other than not paying the fee, there'd be no benefit. But then you'd
no, I
also
don't think there's any benefit. That's why I'm just curious.
move
Yeah,
delivery
yeah,
logistics.
sure. So great. Well, I'm just so impressed with your success. And I just feel like my husband used to say, it's not about speed. It's about taking your time, doing it right. And that person literally wins, they do win the race. So you're kind of doing it. I mean, there's no way to the finish line, but when you're deliberate, thoughtful, usually, and you have a delicious product.
I mean, and that's been our strategy for 13 years. And at times that we've felt discouraged just seeing some other brands come onto the market and explode. But it's been this slow and steady growth, and we've stuck to the mission of making a really good product.
A
And
really good product. And you've kind of become an iconic brand, even though, I mean, 13 years, I mean, that's a lot of longevity, but I mean, your branding and everything, that's what I'm saying. Like you really, you're here to stay. It's what it feels like from somebody who's been in the industry for a while. So, and I don't know if I've mentioned that before to our other, other brands.
Interesting with like it's like when I'm thinking about brand name, that your brand's name is quite literally your last name.
Yeah.
And like then thinking about the other player in the space that kind of we're really one of the first entrants to making a product that was their name was Ben and Jerry. And I'm kind of curious. I mean, how did you go? Did you like look to them as a way to say like, okay, this actually could work if I use my name, or walk us through how you thought about like the brand name?
Because it's not an easy name to say either. So
originally I had what I thought was a brilliant name, which now looking back, I think would have been a really generic name, which was Churn, Churn, Churn ice cream, because you churn,
right.
it makes you think of cream. And some counsel told us that that might not be an easy name to protect, because a lot of other ice cream brands have had products with churn in the name. And they said we would advise not using that name, do something more unique. And my business partners, Peter Van Leeuwen, my brother, and Laura O'Neill, my good friend, Peter and I didn't even think to use our last name because people always had trouble pronouncing it and spelling it. Maybe it was a bad one. But Laura was like, why don't we just call it Van Leeuwen? It's such a elegant sounding last name. It's European and it's yours. So we went for it. My whole family was against it though, because they thought people wouldn't be able to say it in America. So it worked.
It did work. And it's so simple.
Well, I think it worked. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe
no, it works, but it's funny. The name is hard to pronounce, but your branding is very simple.
Yeah. I mean, the truth is, I don't think a name matter for us. I don't think the name matters that much. I mean, as I said before, like the strategy has just been like giving people really good experiences. And if you have a good experience with something, or hopefully a great experience, all you need to do is sort of be able to remember the name.
Yeah, that van thing. Let me get that van ice cream.
Right.
Awesome. Well, Ben, I know we're getting close to the top of the hour here. So Sherry and I always like to ask everyone that we have on one final question. And that is, if you had one extra hour in the day, where would you spend it and why?
That one extra.
I was going to say, Sherry, we need to do a better job of telling people we're going to ask this question, but it's kind of funny. Just like,
no, I don't think we do. I love that he's actually thinking.
My immediate reaction is just like, if I could be outdoors in nature somehow, which is hard to get to in New York City. But in nature, hiking, swimming.
Awesome.
Great answer. I mean, a lot of the answers are about exercise.
It's funny because Ben, we purposely don't ask someone like, if you like with Van Leeuwen's, like where would you spend if you had an extra hour? But it's funny, nobody has said that they would spend an extra hour like doing something for their business. It's really funny. So
yeah. I mean, it wouldn't be healthy.
No, it would not. So listen, I want to thank you so much for taking your time to be on here, and I'm so happy for you. It sounds like you have great partners, your brother, your best friend. I mean, it's just a beautiful story, a beautiful brand. And I will certainly, while I don't do sugar, I've got all my kids are home right now from college, and they're all home for Thanksgiving and on. I don't know when they'll ever go back. Actually, my daughter is at Columbia, so she's home now. But I will definitely go over and order from Sprouts, our natural grocers.
Great.
Support your
awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Ben. You're the best. I really appreciate it.
Have a wonderful day.
Take care.